guys, my name is Gabby, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm filming my LGBT recommendation book video. I've been wanting to do this video for a very long time, for like months and months, and I've just been reading a lot of LGBT so I could make a proper recommendation video, and I finally have read enough to do this. I didn't realize until I was like putting together this video that almost all of these books are male-male romances. Barely read any female-female romances, and of the few that I've read, I didn't really care for them. So if you have any good recommendations for female-female romances that aren't included in this list, then please leave them below. These are all freaking fantastic books. I'm gonna be starting with my like all-time absolute favorite 5-star books and then working my way down to like the 4 stars and then the 3 stars that I think are still good but had some problems for sure. Let's just jump right in to my LGBT recommendation video. So starting off with my absolute favorite 5 out of 5 stars amazing books. I'm gonna start with my all-time favorite, and that's Him by Sarina, Bowen, and Elle Kennedy. If you're looking to jump into the male-male romance genre and you've never read any before, I highly recommend starting with this one. I started with this one and it's still my favorite of all time. This book follows Jamie and Wes, who are both hockey players, went to this hockey camp when they were younger, when they were 13, and one of them is openly gay and the other one is not. He claims to be straight, but he's exploring his sexuality, and so they meet again at a hockey camp where they're both going to be coaches at the same hockey camp that they went to when they were younger. So good, and this book gives me so many feels, and Jamie and Wes are just so cute. And there's 2 books in this series. This is the first book and the second book is called Us, and both of the books are fantastic. This book is one of my favorites of all time. Second recommendation is We Are the Ants by Shaun Hutchinson. This is a young adult contemporary sci-fi twist type of novel. It's about this boy named Henry who believes he's being abducted by aliens every night, and the aliens are telling him that the world's coming to an end, but he doesn't know if the world's worth saving anymore because his boyfriend Jesse recently committed suicide. He meets this boy named Diego at his school that kind of like changes his outlook on the world, and honestly this is what I consider to be my favorite book of all time, and it also just happens to be LGBT, which I think is freaking fantastic. And I love this book with everything in me. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it a million times on my channel by now, but seriously, I do consider this to be my favorite book of all time right now, and it's just so special, and it really like made me remember what the meaning of life is, and it made me feel so warm and fuzzy, and I love this book, and it's very powerful shit, very powerful stuff here. Next up is Aced by Elle Frank and Brooke Blaine, and this is another male-male romance. This is a new adult, and it follows this actor named Ace Locke. He's like a huge Hollywood actor, and then it follows this guy who's a model named Dylan Prescott, and Dylan gets cast to be in Ace's next huge movie, and it's like his first time acting. And this is a trilogy of books. This is the first one, and the other 2 are just as good as this one, and these are like some of my favorites. Like I personally love books that follow like actors. I think it's like so exciting to see like Ace Locke is this like huge Hollywood actor. It was just so awesome, and this series is just so cute and it's so exciting, and just like, oh my god, I love Dylan and Ace so much as characters individually and together. They're just so great. They have so much chemistry, and like, oh, these books are so good and so underrated. I feel like not a lot of people have read this one, but oh my god, so good. Next up is Junkie by Cambria Hebert, another new adult male-male romance that follows Drew and Trent. Drew is an indie racer. He's like a level just below NASCAR, and Trent is the president of his frat house. They start off as like best friends, like they've been best friends their entire life, and then they have this one really drunken night where Trent just gets like drunk out of his mind, and he kind of like admits that he has feelings for him. It's so good. Like, this is one of my favorites because Trent and Drew are such amazing characters, even just on their own. Like, they're so funny and charming and relatable, and together they're just like even more cute. And I love the fact that they both, like, this is their first relationship, both of them, with a guy, and it's like, it's just so cute and so precious. There's a second book too of them called Rev, and it's also just as good. Next up is Heels Over Head by Elyse Springer, another male-male romance that's new adult as well. This follows Jeremy and Brandon. Jeremy is a diver who's going to be competing for the Olympics, and then his coach takes on another diver named Brandon who doesn't take diving as seriously as Jeremy does, but Brandon is like openly gay and he really like loves to have fun, and Jeremy is very closeted And so I really enjoyed this book because I loved seeing Brandon to like get Jeremy out of his shell and just more comfortable with who he is. It was just so good. Their chemistry is so beautiful, and this story gets a lot more deep than you would expect it to. Definitely one of my new favorites. Highly recommend it. The next one will be Brokeback Mountain by Proulx, which might seem like obvious for me, but this follows Jack Twist and Ennis Delmar. A story about these two cowboys who go to Brokeback Mountain for the summer and they fall in love with each other, and it's this beautiful tragic love story. I don't think I need to say anymore. If you haven't read this book, if you've seen the movie and you haven't read the book, I do think that the movie is better, but the book is also really good, and it's really short. It's easy to read. It's like less than 100 pages, and this book just like weighs so heavy on my heart. The next one is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which I think is on almost everyone's LGBT recommendation video, but I wanted to include it on mine because I really love this book. I read it a couple years ago. I love this book so much. It's so like lyrical and it's beautifully written, and these characters are like have so much heart, you know, and I really love like Aristotle's family. Just everything about this book is flawless. And my last 5-star recommendation is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This is one of my favorites. It's about this boy named Simon who's in high school, and he's like secretly messaging this boy that goes by the name of Blue. It's so cute. It's fun trying to figure out who's Blue and like who exactly he's talking to, but it's definitely a really cute coming of age YA story. Alright, now getting into like my more 4-star book recommendations that I still think are really great books, but just not as great as those first ones. First, we have The Secrets in My Scowl, which is a new adult male-male romance that follows Jacob and Wild. Jacob is a lawyer and Wild is a wedding planner, and this is definitely like a slow burn romance. The reason why I rated this one a little bit lower is because I didn't really care so much for the writing style. I thought it was really like difficult to read at times. Like, I don't know, it was just worded really strangely at times, but I still do think that this is a really beautiful story, and I was surprised by how much the ending like really hit me in the feels. Next one is Broken. This is a book that follows James and Theo. It's another new adult male-male romance. This book does have trigger warnings for suicide, depression, and cutting. It's a very heavy book. It's very difficult to read at times, but it is one of the most beautiful stories I think I've ever read. It really like touched me in a way that not a lot of books have. Just seeing James and Theo together was just so like beautiful and refreshing, and it is like an office romance, like they're working together in an office. This book is just very stunning and beautiful, and it'll definitely stay with you for a long time. The next book is Carry the Ocean. This book involves an autistic character named Emmett and a clinically depressed character named Jeremy. This is kind of a new adult and young adult. It's like it reads like a young adult, but technically the characters are like 18 or 19. This story just totally took me by surprise. It's very interesting and informative to read a book from the perspective of an autistic character. It was something I had never read before this book, and I really loved the representation of that and just like the accuracy of like his behaviors and stuff. It's just such a beautiful, eye-opening book. It's definitely an emotional one, and it's very good. I highly recommend it. Next one is It Was Always You, which is actually a collection of 7 short stories about male-male romances, and these are specifically stories about guys that go from being best friends to like falling in love. So it's like friends to lovers romance, which I think is so cute, and it's from a bunch of different authors. It's from 7 different authors that write male-male romance. Loved some of the stories, and then I didn't really care for some of them, so that's why I ended up rating it 4 stars overall. And my last 4-star recommendation is Pieces of Me. This book follows Rylan and Scott. This book is like strange because it's broken down into 2 very distinct parts, and like the first part for me was like the greatest thing ever. It was like 5 stars easily. Like, I loved it. Rylan and Scott meet and they become stepbrothers because their parents get married, and they both have to move into this trailer in a trailer park together. Scott is like super popular. He's like really attractive, and he's like well known around the school, but he's also poor, so they kind of like make fun of him for that. And then Rylan becomes a stepbrother, and so he starts like defending him at the school and stuff, and they just become really close, and it's like the cutest story. Like, I love the beginning so much, and then the second half, there's a time jump of like 6 years. The second half was not as good in my opinion as the first half. Like, I was really into the first half of this. I do strongly recommend this book because the first half alone is so good, but unfortunately the second half wasn't that great in my opinion. Now to get into some of my 3-star recommendations. These are books that I think you could still enjoy, but I personally had a couple of different problems with them, but I still figured I should recommend them anyway because they aren't terrible per se. First one is Crossroads by Riley Hart. This follows Nick and Bryce, and Nick is a chef and Bryce works on motorcycles, and they move in next door to each other, and so they're like neighbors. Both of them think that they're straight, and then they both start to like fall for each other. I really did enjoy the beginning of this book a lot, but I definitely had problems with it towards the end. It just got very like repetitive, but this one was definitely really cute in the beginning, and it definitely had potential to be one of my new favorites. Next up is The Love Interest, and this is a young adult. It's about these two boys who are both spies, and they're both supposed to be going and spying on this girl, and they're both trying to make her fall in love with him, but in the process they fall in love with each other instead, and it's just the cutest. Honestly, this book is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine because I know that it's not very good. Like, it's not written very well, but for some reason I just really enjoy myself while I read this. Like, it's definitely, as I said, it's definitely a guilty pleasure of mine because I understand that it's not that great, but I loved it. This one is Carry On by Ramble Rowell. This is a romance between Simon and Baz, Kath's fan fiction, Carry On. I am not a huge fantasy reader, so that's why I didn't enjoy this book probably as much as other people would, because this is a heavy fantasy YA novel, but I love the romance between Simon and Baz, which is the main reason why this is on this video recommendation, because I love Simon and Baz. Last one is like the only female one in this whole list, and that's Queens of Geek by Jen Wilde. This is a book that follows a bisexual girl who's also Chinese and Australian, which I think is super awesome and unique. Two romances in one. It's a romance between a male and a female, and then the romance between the two girls. Two love stories in one, basically. It all takes place at like a Comic-Con type of thing, which I think is super cool too. I loved this book, but my only problem with it was that the romance did feel a little bit insta-lovey at times, and so that was the only reason why it kind of got bumped down for me, and because this book got a little bit preachy, I think, with what it was trying to say. Even though I do think it's an important message and I do agree with what it's saying, I just do think it got a little repetitive and preachy at times. I still highly recommend this book, and I think it's fantastic. Those are all of my LGBT book recommendations today. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. This was so much fun. I've been wanting to do this video for so long. It feels so good to finally just like do it, you know? And hopefully I'll be able to make more LGBT recommendation videos in the future. I mean, I hope to do it maybe once every couple of months or once every year, because I do read a lot of LGBT books. And yeah, like I said in the beginning, if you do have any like female-female relationship books, or books that follow bisexual characters in particular, like that, I mean, I would be so interested in reading something like that, so just let me know and I'll be sure to check it out. And also, I'm gonna put, like, in the description, I'm gonna put some of the books that are currently on my TBR that I plan to read soon down there, so that you can plan to read those soon, and so that you can see what I'm gonna be reading hopefully soon. What is the best LGBT book that you've ever read that you would highly recommend to me that's not on my list? What are your favorites? I want to know. And thank you so much for watching as always, and I will see you guys next time. Alright, next up is Aced by Ella Frank and Bullock.